Can't live in that world. I miss home. I want home things. I want to speak my languages. You know, even the politics is not the same out there. Politicians arguing with each other. They have debates. Mitt Romney, Barack Obama, blah, 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 blah. There's no charisma. You know, there was one guy who came out, the one Republican senator, the craziest thing I've ever seen. He was arguing against abortion. Because Republicans are totally against abortion. And someone was arguing with him saying, surely women who have been raped should have the option to have an abortion. And this is what he came out and he said this in his speech. True story. Todd Aiken, the Republican, he came out and he said, a lot of people ask me, Todd, why don't you think women can get themselves an abortion if they've been raped? Well, we all know that women can get pregnant from legitimate rape. People were like, what? He said everyone was shocked. The country stood, they couldn't believe they were shocked. And I was there and I was like, Julius. Oh, they everywhere. It's not just us, they're all over the world. Yes, many Juliuses in every Julii, one Julius, many Julii all over the world. Different shapes, different sizes. I was shocked that he was still in the news when I got back. I mean, he's not even part of the ANC. How is it? He's like the most famous unemployed person in the country right now. Julius is there and got charged with fraud and corruption. Wasn't that a fun story? Who would have thought that the mild-mannered man from Limpopo with millions in assets and a 35,000 rand salary was corrupt? I know, I was also shocked, people. I was shocked. The funniest is how he got caught. He was on radio, he was doing interviews, and the journalist asked him, he said, Julius, you sure have a lot of fancy things like Breitling watches and everything for somebody who earns such a meager salary. How do you do it? He said, I work very hard. He said, yeah, but Julius, I mean, it just doesn't add up, it seems a little bit fishy or something. He said, if anybody thinks that there is any suspicion, let them investigate. SARS must investigate. The police must investigate. And so they did. That guy doesn't think. Julius. He just runs around causing chaos wherever he goes. Julius Malema to me is like a vuvuzela. That's what he is. He's loud and he scares foreigners. That's pretty much, In fact, I'm willing to bet with you, if we took out his voice and replaced it with a vuvuzela, no one would know the difference. No one, He could still go out and do speeches and make appearances. No one would know the difference. It would be a better place, in fact. He'd get to conferences. They'd be like, next up, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Julius Malema. And walk up to the podium and be like, they'd still be like, thank you, Julius. The vuvuzela is the most famous thing that's ever come out of South Africa. Do you know this? Most famous thing that's ever left this country. You travel the world and people know about the vuvuzela, but nothing else. I learned this. I was flying home and I had to go through Paris and then come to South Africa. And I'm in Paris and I'm standing at the taxi rank. And this guy waiting, he looks at me and he's like, taxi! I was like, oui, oui, taxi. He's like, bon, j'ai pas ce que tu sais. I was like, moi, non parlez-vous français? I was like, non parlez français, non? I was like, look, man, this is not working. I'm from South Africa. He's like, South Africa, South Africa, Afrique du Sud, no? I was like, yeah, oui, Afrique du Sud. He's like, le Nelson Mandela, huh? I was like, Mandela, yeah. He's like, I was like, Mandela, he's like, Mandela, non, c'est de apartheid, non? Apartheid. I was like, oui, apartheid. He's like, apartheid. I was like, no, apartheid, hey, apartheid, hey, apartheid. He was like, no, apartheid, non, l'Afrique du Sud, Mandela, Afrique du Sud, la vuvuzela, hein? La vuvuzela. And I was like, no, apartheid, Apartheid. Oh, so proud. Got home. Got to see my family. Those are the things you miss, the important things. See my dad in Cape Town. It's always fun hanging out with my dad for me because he's so different to me. He's very, very dry in his humor, very stern. He's not strict per se, but he's just different because he's Swiss. He's not just Swiss, he's Swiss-German. You don't get more precise than that. Everything makes sense, everything is calculated. He doesn't even understand what I do for a living. He doesn't. He has conversations with me. He's like, so Trevor, my friend, tell me you got a job now, eh? You do the job, what is it, comedy? What is it, comedy? Like, yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian. That's what I do. Like, oh, so you a clown, eh? So, no, I'm not a clown. It's spoken word. It's more intelligent. He's like, oh, sorry, spoken, mister. But the people, do they laugh? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, well, so clown, eh? Whatever, man. Worst thing is you must know you don't get food or something because you're a horrible clown, eh? So what? I've never even told you a joke. He's like, rubbish. Clown is always clown. What do you mean you don't tell me a joke? You don't even have a joke. I got better jokes than you. You've never told me a joke in your life. He's like, because you don't understand joke. I can't waste the joke on you. You don't understand it. So, well, try me then. Tell me a joke. He's like, okay, I tell you a joke. Today you say you come to the house, 10 o'clock, eh? 10 o'clock you say you come. Then what time you come, eh? 25 past 10, eh? It's funny because it's not 10 o'clock, it's after. You see, you don't laugh because you don't know time and you don't know jokes, you're stupid. I got to tell my friends, I got to laugh, just a clown. It's different. We have weird arguments together, it's so much fun. One day he sends me to his room to look for his watch. He's like, Trevor, you go to my room and look for my watch for me. I say, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. So I look for the watch, can't find it, come back. I'm like, Dad, I can't find your watch. He's like, okay, we go to the shop. So you know what, let me double check. He's like, what? So I'm gonna double check. No. What is this the rubbish now? You don't explain the rubbish. Double check. What is the double check, eh? To check is to make sure, eh? What were you doing the first time then? Eh? That means you don't check. You just go, you play. You come back, you talk. Now you go check, you little shit. You fetch the watch, we go to the shop, eh? We'll go double check the rubbish. Everything with him. Dad, I'll be there now. What? You got to come twice. You got to give him time. Precise. Swiss. That's the Swiss half of me, That's why I love watches. That's why I love time. But then, because of the Xhosa half, I'm never on time. That's the wild side of the family. We don't give a damn about time. On my mom's side, having the time of our lives. Everyone's crazy. Everyone's got personality. They're big. My mom is wild. We got it from my grandfather. Temperance Noah was his name. He was a big, proud Xhosa man. And, he used to be famous in his area in Midlands where he lived. And they used to call him Tachiza, where he stayed. He was charming, the hot grandpa, loosely translated. And he'd walk around and he'd always talk English to his friends, but only the ones who couldn't speak English. He loved it, Like rub it in their faces, just walk around and be like, oh, Jeremiah, fancy meeting you here, Squire. Look at you, meandering about aimlessly. And I was just like, what does that mean, Grandpa? He's like, even me, I don't know. Just keep walking. He just had this thing, it was so cool. And he never treated me the same in the family. I never knew if it was a joke or if it was because of apartheid, because he grew up hard in that game, He would come home after work and open the kitchen door and the family would be there and he'd be like, good evening, black people. Good evening, master. I was like, I'm not a master, he was crazy. Everyone in the family, well, not everyone, because my grandmother is the sane one. Frances Noah, 85 years old. And she's got a wild side, but she's not crazy. She's very witty, smart, small woman, but tough as nails. And her and I, man, we have such a beautiful love and a bond for each other. Just have this thing. Ever since she hit me. Which is normal. This was normal in the family. Grandmothers were responsible in African families for beating the children. Because generally the parents are at work. Kids stay with grandparents, and then grandparents hit the kids. Not even grandmother, because generally men shouldn't hit children because they say men hit out of anger, but then women beat out of love. I never felt the difference. All I know is my grand hit me once, and one time only. I don't remember all the details, because I don't hold grudges. I just remember that it was myself, my cousin Bulelwa, my cousin Mlungisi, and my imaginary friend Andrew. And we were playing Doctor. right? And somewhere along the line, an operation went wrong. This is medicine, it happens. So matches were stuck inside Bulelo's ear, and she started bleeding. I don't know who did it, I think it was Andrew. So my gran comes home, doesn't ask questions, cleans Bulelo's ear. As soon as he sees he's fine, she whips out a belt and whips our asses. It's like, whips our ass, whips our ass. Then she's like, go to the room! And we all have to go to the room, and we're there in the room like, which is very important. It seems irritating, but you learn this very early in a black family, that crying is one of the most important parts of any beating. And no, because crying can severely decrease how much you get beaten, or it can add to it. You gotta know how to cry in a black family. You don't mess around with that. Like, I remember going to a white friend of mine out, Jeremy. I was shocked. He was so naughty, and his dad came to me like, Jeremy, hey, you got an attitude, boyki, for that. You're gonna get 10 of the best, like 10 of the best. And I was like, what's 10 of the best? He's like, oh, my dad's gonna give me 10 lashes. And I was like, what? You know when it's gonna end. Where I'm from, it's you versus stamina. How much energy does your mom have? There's no games, oh, it's gonna end. 10, yeah. You get whippings. That's why the crying was so important. You had to know how to cry. For instance, never cry too early. Never, ever cry too early. You cry too early, then your parents think you're deceitful. They hit you even more for being a liar and for what you did now. Now it's double punishment. You gotta time it. You gotta wait for the stick and let it come, and as it hits you, then you don't cry when they hear, and you're like, ah! You're like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? And you're like, oh, I thought you were, sorry. It was a false start. I already thought you... Just think of it like prepaid crying. You can't cry early. You got to cry on time. You wait for the stick. As it hit it, bah, then and not too loud. You don't cry too loud. You cry loud, they'll even get more angry. They'll be like, why are you making a noise? Why are you making a noise? And you're like, ooh, oh, tough guy. You don't cry, eh? You don't cry, tough guy. You're like, what? No, why are you making a noise? Woo, tough guy. Then you're like, Then they're like, what? Are you bewitched? Eh? So you gotta know how to cry, where to cry. You find the level. And you cry at the right level. You make sure. And then the key is to know your different cries. Make sure you know your different cries. There's different things, because you cry while you're getting the beating, and then you wait for the pause. You wait for the pause, because when there's a pause, you gotta jump in with the choking cry. As your parents pause, then you're like, because then they're like, yo, he's choking, he's almost dead, I've done a good job. Then they stop for a bit, then they chill, then you then like, go to your room. And then the most important cry, many of the time, you gotta cry the cry of mourning. You walk around the whole day. That way if they see you, they don't hit you again for the same thing. So my gran hits us, we in the room, all three of us. But I'm a kid, I get bored after a while. I'm like, I wasn't even sure if my gran was in the house at that point. She wasn't there. I was like, I'm busy playing with my toys, having a good time. She came back. I wasn't paying attention though. I dropped the ball. I'm like, she walked in the room. I'm You gotta know how to cry. My gran only hit me one time though. One time got hit by my grandmother. And that day was the craziest thing, because my mom came home and she found my grandmother crying. Found her crying on the kitchen chair, like the little chair next to the stove, cold stove, and my gran was there in tears. She's like, ooh. And my mom's like, what's wrong, mama? She's like, don't be so low. I can't hit your child. I'll never hit him again. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, I can't hit your child. I hit him today for the first time. And he became blue and green and red and yellow. I never saw those colors before. Must take your child. I don't want to break him. They're going to say, I killed a white man. And my mom's like, no, he's not white. You must hit him. She's like, no, I'll hit the black children. It's fine. You can hit them forever. They don't change. They just become more black. So my grand never ever hit me after that, ever. It was fantastic. Other cousins getting beatings on. It was good times. So my grand discovered castor oil. It was the most horrible thing in the world. You had to drink that stuff. I don't even think it's for like your body, it's for your hair or something, man. You drink and you burping oil the whole castor oil. And it was genius, because now my grand didn't have to hit me. She just gave me that. And then now you can't be naughty because you need a shit, you know? So now you're there and you're busy panicking. Your friends are like, Trevor, let's go throw stones. You're like, yeah, ooh, oh, oh, I think I need a napkin. It was disgusting. It didn't even take long. You drink it within an hour. It's just like, I think that's why they call it castor, because it runs, Baba. It doesn't play. You know? And I would never be naughty at night, ever. I would never be naughty at night, because I knew if I'm naughty at night, then I'm gonna need to go to the toilet when everyone is sleeping. And then the worst thing is the toilet was outside. But not like outside here, it was outside. So you had to leave the house. And there I'm like 10 years old, walking outside in the middle of the township. It's dark, you can't see anything, there's dust everywhere. And in the darkness, I'd get so scared, because the dogs would always scare me. The dogs, like 5 houses away, you just hear like, woo, 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 woo. What are they barking? They're barking at witches. Yeah. I always wondered why dogs in the township bark different to dogs in the suburbs, though. That is something that I still don't know till this day. Like, I noticed this even with our dogs. When we moved to the suburbs, all of a sudden they had this poise about them. They just, you know, our dogs had this confidence, like at the gates, they just have this thing when they march. And they just have this confidence, you know? But then dogs in the township, it's those skinny ones with like the stripes and this weird mixed breed, and you know, they bark like they're complaining about government, you know? I miss those days, man. Some people don't believe you know that? I mean, some people go, Trevor, how do you know these things? You're lying, man. You never grew up in the town. So I was like, why would I make these stories up? It's half Swiss, half Xhosa. That's who I am. It's not that weird to me, you know? It's half Swiss, half Xhosa. Just think of me like a Swiss chocolate. That's all, you know? It's just that's all it really is. I feel like South Africa is getting a lot more angry, though. I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you felt it in the air. Over the past few years, we've just got a bit more, you know, more fights happening, more, you know. We're not growing as a nation, I feel. We're doing really well. Rainbow Nation, Rugby World Cup, all of those things. 2010, we all aimed for it, and then now we, you know, it's time to move, though. It's time to, South Africa's 18 years old, 18 years of a democracy, you know. It means we're old enough to drink now, so yeah. And we need that drink. We're also old enough to work, old enough to do something, old enough to vote. You know, it's time for a lot of young black people. I feel like young black people, it's time for us to find our struggle now. Because, you know, it's like apartheid, that was somebody else's fight, and now it's our thing. It's time for us to get off the apartheid train. You know, because it was fun. Choo-choo, apartheid, yeah, choo-choo, you know. But now it's time to get off. And, you know, not forget, though. I'm not saying we forget apartheid. No, no, no. Leave the train there. Polish it, say, or remember. Yeah. Don't forget. Because some people are bastardizing apartheid. It actually hurts me, to be honest. You know, you get guys using it as a scapegoat for everything. Politicians caught stealing money. Minister, you stole 200 million. They always come back. Yeah, but the thing with apartheid is that what it did to our people. You're like, no, you stole money, 200 million. Yeah, but if it wasn't for apartheid, then we would have never what? No, that's what you stole. That's what happened, you stole. They just bastardized the thing, you know? People just fight, and we've got to move forward, but not get over it. I've heard too many white people say that, you know, recently online, on radio and stuff, you know, people, yeah, you know, I'm bloody sick and tired of these people using this as a crutch, man. It's time to get over it. Come on, man, 20 bloody years, get over it now. No, guys, you don't just get over apartheid. You know, it's not like a tiny little thing you can. It held people back, no education, no jobs, people need to catch up now. It's not like black people are just going to be like, yeah, apartheid, woo! Overeat. No. You have to work. You have to work.